This is KGW News at noon.
Jaw-dropping images capture the devastation in California. Dangerous wildfires grow overnight across the state. Flames have leveled thousands of buildings and even forced an entire town to evacuate. I'm Brenda Braxton. Thank you for joining us today. Just about an hour ago, officials confirmed 5 people died in vehicles torched by the Woolsey wildfire. It's burning in the northern part of the state. NBC's Gadi Schwartz has the latest.
Heavenly Father, please help us.
They're calling it Paradise Lost, the town about 180 miles northeast of San Francisco, now a burning ghost town. A fast-moving wildfire being called a campfire, forcing tens of thousands to flee their homes.
Go!
Panicked residents recording their perilous escape, roaring flames on every side.
We're okay.
A mandatory evacuation of Paradise, a town of 27,000 people, creating gridlock and fear. The smoke and ash turning day into night.
Oh my God, I can't even see. It's so smoky.
Jessica Fulcron and her son Taylor, part of that frantic exodus.
So now we're only going, barely above zero.
The town's hospital also evacuated.
We've got 4 trapped in the basement. 4 people trapped in the basement. The hospital surrounded by fire.
Those 4 rescued as a fire closed in. Officials now say the town has been totally devastated.
I don't know if the whole town is burned down. I don't know how many structures have burned. They're in the numbers are definitely in the hundreds, if not the thousands.
In nearby Concal, Colton Persifield also narrowly escaped. He woke to smoke that quickly turned into flames, his only route to safety through the inferno. His pickup truck running off the road more than once before he finally made it out. In Southern California, another wildfire erupting in Ventura County. In just minutes, engulfing Highway 101, where trapped drivers had to be rescued.
101 remains closed. Very active fire conditions on both sides of the 101 freeway.
The blaze spreading quickly, firefighters forced to attack it from the air. Overnight, residents once again on the move, more than 1,200 homes evacuated.
And that was Gadi Schwartz reporting for us. Clackamas Fire will be sending 5 firefighters down to California to help. We will have more on that coming up this afternoon at 4.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound.
Families in Thousand Oaks came together last night to honor those killed in the mass shooting at a bar Wednesday night. As police look for a motive, we're learning more about the victims. 18-year-old Elena Housley was a freshman at Pepperdine University. Relatives describe her as kind, smart, beautiful, and respectful. 23-year-old Justin Meek was at the bar with his sister. Friends say he saved her life before he was shot and killed. One of the survivors also lived through the mass shooting in Las Vegas last year. He appeared on the Today Show this morning.
I know that I'm here for a reason. I'm sitting here talking to you. And like my grandma said, after the Vegas shooting, the morning after, she said, Brendan, God was not done with you yet.
The suspect, 28-year-old Ian Long, was a former machine gunner and Afghanistan war veteran. Last spring, authorities called a mental health specialist to his home after an episode of what they describe as agitated behavior. Authorities say the mental health specialist worried he might have PTSD. You know, there is some good news in terms of help for troubled veterans, and it's coming from here in Portland. New crisis counselors will be part of the National Call Center for Vets. KGW's Tim Gordon is live in Southwest Portland. And Tim, this is a reason to celebrate.
Brenda, it is, and they are. The big tent is set up. Dignitaries are here as well. This is an expansion for Lines for Life, which already does great work in drug abuse and suicide prevention. Celebrating the expansion, Lines for Life's crisis call center just doubled in size. They've added this space for 35 new counselors. Their sole purpose is to handle calls from veterans and their family members in crisis who need help.
They get 800,000 plus calls a year on the Veterans Crisis Line nationally.
Dwight Holton explains Lines for Life is now the sole backup call center for the federal Veterans Crisis Line, and they'll be busy helping vets across the country.
We lose 22 vets a day to suicide. The reality is we need to stand up for our vets just like they stood up for us. The Veterans Crisis Line and our work with them is a down payment on that work.
Among the honored guests today, Oregon Senator Ron Wyden. He helped promote Lines for Life as the right place for this job.
This was not something that we had to kind of test and experiment. Lines had really shown it day in and day out for years, and nobody could deserve this recognition more, and we want to thank our federal partners as well.
And the senator's right. You know, Lines for Life has already been helping the federal program for the past year. It's also the group that helps the Oregon military with suicide and crisis prevention. And we can't say this enough. The numbers on your screen right now. There's just one number to know if you're in crisis, to call 1-800-273-8255. That's 273-TALK. If you're military, just press 1 after that. Brenda, back to you.
Excellent information. Thank you, Tim. Well, this Veterans Day marks 100 years since the end of World War I. And there are a lot of events happening all around town, including a parade in Vancouver at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Washington County is also holding a Veterans Day ceremony at 11 a.m. It's at the Washington County Veterans Memorial. And then coming up on Sunday, the Oregon Department of Veterans Affairs has its celebration at 2 p.m. It's at the World War II Memorial in Salem. Well, let's talk more about that weather forecast as we head into the holiday weekend. There is a live look from our Cannon Beach Skycam. We see some clouds out at the coast, but I also see some sunshine on the bricks behind me. So, Chris, which will win out for the holiday?
Most likely the sun, and that's not something we could always say looking into a mid-November weekend. But as we give you the live look right now from our Wells Fargo sky camera here, we do have some high, thin cloud cover passing overhead. And as I show you the visible satellite imagery, taking it back to early this morning and until now, we do have these bands of clouds rolling overhead. Not likely to produce any rain in the metro area, but it'll probably keep us from seeing that brilliant sunshine that we saw yesterday afternoon. That said, here's Futurecast, and our model does spit out maybe a sprinkle or two in the Coast Range, possibly up in northern Clark and Cowlitz County late this afternoon. Tomorrow, patchy fog, and then we break out the sunshine once again. Same story on Sunday. So with that in mind, again, by mid-November standards, this is a pretty awesome looking weekend. Fog to sun both Saturday and Sunday. Not as cold tomorrow morning as we were this morning, but then we turn the corner and we'll wake up to some pretty frosty conditions on Sunday. It was chilly out there this morning, by the way, waking up to temperatures in the 20s in most locations. We've only recovered to 47 last check at the airport. So it is kind of a chilly day out there. And Brenda, we do have the clouds sort of filtering out that sun. I think those will be with us the rest of this afternoon. Your full forecast looking ahead to next week, of course, as well, in just a few minutes.
We'll see you then. Thank you, Chris. Portland's Leaf Day pickup starts today, and this year the service is free. If you're planning to participate, PBOT asks that you do a few things first. Get the leaves out into the street the day before and then keep them about a foot from the curb. Also, make sure there's space between your leaf piles and parked cars. In some neighborhoods, you have to move your car on Leaf Day. PBOT has more information on its website. The Portland City Council is taking some more time before deciding whether or not to approve the mayor's ordinance to stop violent protests downtown. If that passes, it would let Mayor Ted Wheeler set conditions for public gatherings if the group involved has a history of violence or inciting violence. Yesterday, at a hearing, dozens of people spoke out against the plan, including Commissioner-elect Joanne Hardesty. 2 other commissioners also say they will vote no. A new roadblock for the caravan of migrants seeking refuge at the U.S. border with Mexico. Today at the White House, President Trump signed a proclamation that will deny asylum to those entering the U.S. illegally. It's the administration's latest move to clamp down on immigration. The ACLU has already filed a lawsuit to stop the new rule. A major crackdown on e-cigarettes. The FDA says it'll ban flavored cartridge-based e-cigarettes at convenience stores and gas stations around the country. The official announcement will come next week. It's in response to more kids under 21 vaping. Public health experts complain the fruity, candy-like flavors found in e-cigarettes directly target children and teenagers. New at noon, we're getting a look at Multnomah County's new Central Courthouse. This is drone video showing that 17-story building under construction. It's at Southeast 1st Avenue and Madison Street. This morning, crews raised the last structural beam into place and installed it at the top of the building. Multnomah County began the process of selling the old courthouse back in April, saying it doesn't meet current seismic codes. The new, almost $325 million courthouse is set to open in 2020.